Let me show you a system that I just integrated into my dashboard that will take care of analyzing all your bank statements and pulling the data and all of your transactions into your transactions dashboard. So this is what the dashboard currently looks like. I already did a walkthrough of all the components of this particular system. When I spoke to my client again that needs this system, so he did mention that he would also want to be able to upload his bank statement can be pulled up in all of these in the transactions dashboard as well. So that means once he uploads a bank statement like so, he wants to see it in this is transaction. So the bank statement will be analyzed and all the transactions in that bank statement pulled and put into our transaction. So of course, front end we had to put that as well. We added a slot for this, and here you can add your bank statement here where you are allowed to upload the attachment, in this case PDF, and also your bank name. So include the bank name because that's what you are going to use to target in our transactions and also in our accounts database, right? So that was the updates that we had to make front end. So back end database, the update that we had to make was to create a new table where our data from the bank statements page is going to be coming in. So you can see this is the bank name and also the attachment. Of course, the date automatically loads up because it's created time. So when this, you created, when the attachment is created, sorry, the dates will automatically, load up, picking up when the attachment was created. I don't know if that makes sense. So now let's go to the biggest fish in the room, which is the automation that is going to take care of, splitting all of the individual transactions from the bank statement and putting them into our transactions table. So this is what that automation is going to look like. So what this automation does, first of all, is to watch for the new record. So whenever a new bank statement has been uploaded into our database, so whenever someone comes in here and fills this to add a database, to add a bank statement rather, it lands in here. So our automation picks up that particular bank statement and then uses something called the PDF vector. So I try to use pdf.co, and the data that I got from pdf.co was very relative to the kind of bank statement. If the bank statement is like a scanned image, right, a scanned PDF or image PDF rather, it pulls it as a text. But if the bank statement is a doc PDF, what it does is that it now, pulls them off into its individual transactions. So that means it will be difficult for me to, be able to synthesize or be able to split or use AI to analyze and process those bank information that it has given me because it's unique depending on every bank. So I had to find this tool called PDF Vector. So if you're trying to build an automation that will require you to process bank statements, you should want to check this out. It will give you as detailed information and help you extract data from bank statements as they come. So the next thing that we did was to feed that into our AI module. So what we do, as you can, let me even show you what this looks like. So there is not much to do here. The only thing is that you have to sign up to get the API key. So once you sign up on the platform, you'll be able to get the API key, although you would have to start paying. You will pay for it because of course it's a paid software, but the way it analyzes the data and processes the data, basically the way it processes the data is very unique, and I really really like it. So regardless of the kind of bank statement that you upload, it still processes it very perfectly and brings out individual transactions from that bank statement for you. So that's why I really like it. So I think it's worth it. I think it's $25 per month for 3,000 credits, and if you're running like one page of every bank statement will be like 14 credits. So that means 100 pages can be like 1 4. So 3,000 will be around like 200 and something pages, right? So if you're doing more than that, of course you would upgrade. So when we get our individual transactions from a PDF, what we now do is feed it into our first AI module. And the first AI module is one that analyzes the transactions and then pulls out, here you can see it gives us the transaction name, the merchant. Basically, what it's just doing is giving us all of these fields here. So it gives us all of these fields here so that we can be able to put it in here. So that's what this particular AI module does. So it gives us the category, the type. Is it an income? Is it an expense? and the amount there, the date, and any other notes that we need. And if it's part of a budget, if it's part of recurring payments, whatever, you just let us know. And once we find that, right, the next thing that we are going to do is go in and find the IDs of each of the relevant fields. For example, you can see that these fields here, let's go down to our mapped fields. You can see that these fields here are linked fields, right? So we have to find a way to be able to find the record of each of the linked fields so that we can be able to update this what's it called, we can be able to update our table. So that's why we need this one here. So what it basically just does is to find ID. So we can see that we have given it all the IDs. So wherever it sees a particular name, so say for example for the bank, for example, if the bank name is OPay, it's going to replace that OPay with this ID number. If the bank name is GT, is going to replace it. If the bank name is MNX Gold, is going to replace it with the corresponding and right ID. So at the end of the day, we're going to have the IDs instead of the names themselves so that we can update our database. So once we have that, we use the JSON, of course, to split it into its individual components. And after splitting it, the next thing that we do is to have a router. So the router is going to because of course the way we process expense is different from the way we process income, so that router is going to take care of that. So once it's an expense, we feed it into our expense side, and then it goes in to create everything we need. You can see here it creates everything we need, including the account, the user, and every apart from the budget and the recurring payments, because sometimes the recurring payments might not exist and the budget might not exist. So if we put all of them together here, it's going to definitely throw up an error for us. So we had to remove them here and instead update it after. So this over here is our income route. So of course the income is not always part of anything. It's not part of recurring. It's not part of budgets. It's only expenses that are always part of those ones. All the things that we need in sorry all the things that we need in our income is just the account name and the username. So the user ID and the account ID in this case. So every other information is just the same and we just update that. So for our expense in the other end, we have to go back and update it if a recurring exists and also if budget exists. So if the recurring exists, so if there is an ID for recurring, so that means it's one of our recurring payments, it's going to go ahead and update the right space in the database. As you can see here, it goes in to update this particular one. And in the other end, if it's a budget, it also comes down and goes into updates this particular one for us. So yeah, that's basically how this would work. If you want like a more detailed breakdown of this, or maybe you have been looking for how you can get your bank statement into like spreadsheets so that you can always have like a central spreadsheet to monitor all of your transactions, you might want to use a system like this. Just switch out the Airtable module for a spreadsheet like your Google Sheet, and you are good to go. So I really hope you found this useful. If you have any questions around this, you can let me know. But like I said, this is specifically for a client, and this is based off on their requirements and the scope of work that we are doing. But if of course you want something like this for your business, we might have to have a conversation so that we know your scope, how how you operate, how your accounts are currently being structured, so that we will know what to build for you. But the main goal is just to have a front end where all your accounts are linked together and you can see how much money comes in, how much money leaves, where do you spend most of your money on, how do you budget for each of them, how keep to budget, or do you skyrocket your budget every month. That's just basically what this system does. This system just helps you track all of your financial endeavors or efforts in one central dashboard, instead of always moving from bank to bank, account to account, to try to find information or details or transactions of your business. You can just have them all in one central dashboard. So I really hope you found this very useful. And if you have any questions, like I said before, you can let me know in the comments. Else, I think I will be signing off right now. So I'm going to see you in my next one. So have a beautiful day.